Hey there, and happy Tuesday, everyone. So today's been a big day, great day, and I know a lot of you have been excited putting in orders because celebration started, and it just seems like we didn't have celebration that long ago, but with 2021 being the first year of Stampin' Up! Having two celebrations, it's kind of fun to have another round of celebrations so soon, and this is the normal time of year for celebration, so it starts today. You can earn free things with $50 orders, $100 orders. You can, if you really like the paper, you can order $100 and get 2 sets of paper, or do whatever. Hi Lisa, hi Lois, hi Pam, hi Kay. So that started, as well as the mini catalog. And I always say, gosh, this is the best catalog ever. And honestly, I feel like they just looked at all my scrapbooks of my life and went, this is what this lady loves, and made a catalog based on me this year. I'm not trying to sound selfish or self-centered, but I love this mini catalog. And so you won't be surprised, because of my comment of being a foreign exchange student and living in Holland, that today's card for Kim's party, my hostess Kim, for her virtual party, this is card number 2, is going to look Dutchy or springy or tulipy, or however you want to say that. Hi Carol, hi Sarah. So for card number 2, I really wanted to highlight the Flowering Fields Suite. And with that, let me get my camera turned around here and see. I don't see my iPad working, but I'm not going to delay that for you guys. If it catches up with me, then I will just go with that. I'll just look for comments, and I can do that too. Thanks, Kay. Thanks, Pam. Yeah, I really had fun putting today's card together, and it's going to show you a couple techniques too for my people that like techniques. I'm just going to do a little bit of watercoloring and such. But as I set this aside, even though this started, can you believe I still haven't done anything with any of the free things yesterday? Today I won't be doing any of the free things either out of here, but just know that I'm excited about it. Maybe tomorrow I should do something with the cute little otters. So far today, I just wanted to get to pages 10 and 11. So far with the orders that have been placed today, the otters and the Simply Marvelous paper have been the number one things that people have been redeeming when they have been choosing their free celebration products. Oh, Pam, thanks. Yes, Pam remembers years and years ago, for our first wedding anniversary, my husband planned a trip to get me back to Holland, and we've been back several times, and even a few years ago, my sister came here and got to see me in my element with my kids. It's the first time that she's been to Minnesota to visit me since I've been married. She was here just before, and we went to visit her in Indiana. So anyway, I have a host family, and we do get to see each other more frequently than a person would think, and I've been blessed to have that relationship just stay strong there too. She is just like a sister to me, and we are definitely family and have kept that bond. So on with the Dutch card though today, guys. Hi Julie. And so with that, oh, here we go. Also my iPad came to life, so that way I can see questions and all of that. So okay, that way if you have questions, it'll be easy for me to see that. So here are the products. Let me start with that. So today I'm using actually 2 of the stamp sets. So when you look at the mini catalog today, I can open it up. So that's exciting for me. On pages 14 and 15, and actually it kind of expands into 16 and 17, so you can see really good big pictures. And not only are the pictures of the stamp sets incredible, so are the samples that they've given us too. And I love that. Yeah, so it's all these pages. And so there's actually 2 bundles with the suite of products. They nailed it with this Dutch looking ribbon, and that's been really popular today too, the Evening Evergreen Window Pane Check ribbon. And a lot of people have really commented how much they love the brushed brass butterfly. So I'm going to use those today, not the ribbon, but I'm going to use this set of dies, the stamp set, and the stamp set, and of course the pretty paper. So that is where that's coming from. So out of here I'm using the windmill image and the 2 clouds, And then I love the sentiments in the flowering tulips stamp set. So even though this time I'm not using the tulip images to build anything, I do love the happy birthday. And even the just thinking of you today, I'm going to use that for the inside to pair that up. But this would make a great just thinking of you. And for those of you that love to think about Mother's Day cards too, remember that there's a Mother's Day sentiment in this stamp set. So let me quick show you this beautiful paper. So I was going to actually use, I love how this kind of cascades out at an angle. I was going to use that on my card, but I realized for the 4x3 piece that I'm using for this card, this first card would look great because it would show you a lot of the angle, but as we move it over or move it down, you would only kind of get one color, you know, just a little segment, and it just would not have the same effect as that, oops, there we go in the camera, going out. So you'd have one really cool card at this angle, and that's about it. So then I went, okay, what else is in there that I can get my flowers on? So there's this, and then on the back side, kind of a fun marble wash look. And then I chose this because this is something that I can cut into 4-inch strips here, and then this way cut into 3-inch strips. So I have all these 4x3 cards here, or I mean, designer series paper pieces, excuse me, 4 card fronts, and cutting it that way I can get 12 of these 4x3 pieces out of each 12x12 sheet, and so I can get 12 cards out of this, 12 cards out of this, so 24 cards out of a whole packet of the designer series paper too. Hi Diane. And then this is the back side, kind of that checked pattern going through with that. And then how pretty are the purple tones in this? And I know yesterday when I made a purple card, people commented I love purple. And then this is kind of a fun color wash there for that background. This is gorgeous too, some of the peaches and the mango colors and the yellows, and that is just gorgeous. So we've got that, and then on the back side, that same kind of tone but more of a pattern. And then the Poppy Parade color in some polka dots with kind of a color wash of clouds too in the Poppy Parade kind of calypso coral. And I love this. To me, this just says Mother's Day. I don't know why, but I just looked at it and thought this is going to make a fun Mother's Day card, and either on its own or building up those tulip dies to make that happen, and then kind of more of a cloud color wash there. So that is called the Flowering Fields 12x12 Designer Series Paper Pack. Just kind of wanted to highlight and show you what's in there so you get a better look at what's in there versus just a little snippet in the catalog. So my color combination today, I have to show you, I'm kind of mixing things up. I like to do that when I can. Hi Kim, I love it when my hostess is able to pop on. So making your card right now. So for my sample here that I made before I went live, I'm using Calypso Coral, but when you can see each 4-inch strip that I cut into 3-inch sections has kind of different color qualities depending on which section I'm cutting it from. So this card I felt like really highlighted the Calypso Coral because, you know, some of it's going to get covered up with the sentiment. And then when I looked at this one, I went, you know what, this is going to show some of the Poppy Parade. So even though my sample has Calypso Coral, I'm going to make the card today in Poppy Parade, and you can chime in as I make the card and finish the card which one maybe you like better, and maybe it just depends on kind of which section of the Fun DSP that I'm using too. And sometimes it'll be like, that's how I'm going to make the card, but actually I'm just going to make each of these cards for everyone that I'm sending them out to based on kind of what flowers are in that section of their card. But if you want to chime in, I love getting feedback. Then I know that you guys kind of like the teacher that likes to know, excuse me, that their class is paying attention. So the card base here for Poppy Parade is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 scored to open this way. And then I have 2 4 by 5 1/4 pieces. One's going to be for the inside, and then one is going to be kind of what I'm going to build my card on. And so with that, I can just take the piece of paper that I'm going to use here and just get ready to build my card front here. And because I want that to fit so evenly both across there and side to side, this is my little tip that I sometimes show you guys, is I get out my paper trimmer here and I put it, I'm gonna get it hopefully to fit in the camera here. I put my piece of white cardstock as close to the bottom here as I can, and then I can just kind of, I don't want to put it down yet, I want to kind of slide it across so that that adhesive doesn't accidentally stick to anything. And then I can see that, you know, I've got it exactly across the bottom here without it going wonky, and it's not overlapping there. I do see just a smidge of white here, and so since my trimmer's out, I can just take and just kind of cut that off. Like, we're talking the biggest to littlest smidge here of little piece. But then for those of you that that would drive you nuts to see that little piece of white on the edge, now it no longer will drive you nuts. And it's such a little piece, it kind of made that want to just get rough in that little spot, but the rest is great. Okay, now I can put my trimmer away off to the side. So now this is ready to go. And I think next what I'm going to do is get out my blending brushes, because I kind of made my sample card, wanted to add a little color so it wasn't such a stark background for that. And I did it after I kind of built up the card, so it's much nicer to be able to do that. So I'm going to pull out Pool Party ink here. And I thought that was a nice, pleasant blue-ish tone for the blending brush that really coordinated with the colors that are in the flowers and the designer series paper. So I'm just going to swirl around my blending brush and just kind of start off to the side and then just go along the sides and the edge. I don't want it to look like a cloudy day by any means. I just want it to add a little bit of color. And this is going to be like super soft. So I don't even know, like, if my camera hardly picks up that there's much on there. But compared to the white, it will look like something's happening. So just a little bit there. And maybe if I show you just some white, you'll see like, oh yeah, there is a difference there. So that's just to add just something to it. Now for my stamping, I'm just going to take a piece or a strip of some basic white here and open up my Early Espresso ink pad. And I love, love, love this. I'm sure growing up, you guys have had to eat these little Dutch kind of ginger snap-ish flavored cookies. Please say you have. That's what this design reminds me of, besides just looking like a typical great Dutch windmill here. So there is that. Now, the first time I kind of took this stamp off of the sheet from the stamp set and just kind of tried to place it on here, and then when I went to line up my dies, it just seemed like the windmills weren't fitting. So sometimes with these, when you have any kind of stamp that is lengthy or, you know, can bend or twist, sometimes what I'll do is just take it back off the block, lay it down on something, and then attach the block to it, and then all of my windmill blades were straight and they lined up perfectly with my die. So if that ever happens, sometimes it's user error. You would think with all my years of experience that would never happen, right? So that's ready to cut out, and I'm just going to take my little mini cut and emboss machine here and run that through. So the dies that I'm using as part of that suite, these are the Windmill Fields dies. So here's the windmill that's going to match that image. And now all of these little pieces here, Stampin' Up! Was wonderful with this set of dies, and they gave us 4 smaller fences and one kind of double fence die. All of that is in here so that if you're making a nice long fence, you don't have to keep running it through and through and through the die cut machine. So these are the remaining pieces. So lots of nice big images. pieces for a big windmill, some clouds, tree, bike. I can't wait to use that. And 3 clouds too, which is nice. And then a neat little tulip border. So the dies that I'm not using out of the whole big suite are kind of from that other bundle. And these are the tulip dies. And I'm not using them this time, but here's all the dies that go with that and that nice little Dutchy pattern there. So this will be great to use in the future, but I wanted to let you know that I didn't use any from that today, even though I used both of the stamp sets. So let me feed this through here right away so we can keep making the card. But I also kind of like to point out the features that I am using or not using, so nobody feels like I've led them astray by saying, hey, I used the whole suite, when really I didn't use absolutely everything in the suite. Okay, so here, oops, we have the cute little windmill coming through there, and I'll set that die aside. Now, because these fence pieces are really tiny, you can about imagine what I'm going to use next. So I went right to my drawer that has the adhesive sheets that Stampin' Up! Sells, and I just love to cut off little sections. So I'll take a 12 by 6 sheet out and just cut little pieces here. And here we go. So here's my little like 1 inch by 6 inch strip, and same with my crumb cake. And then I can just take and pull this, whoops, there's a little piece left over from last time. I can pull this right off of my sticker sheet and then right on to my cardstock, like so. So you're going to put that right on there, adhesive right on your cardstock, and then this just gets tossed. And now I can load up some of these little fence pieces. Whoops. But this is going to go adhesive side down. So this is going to be like your little learning session about the adhesive sheets. I've used them before, but sometimes if you don't use them very often, you kind of have to rethink, now how do I line that up? So for my card, I just need 1 of the longs and then 2 of the shorts for that. And yet there's still going to be 2 leftover small pieces here too. So if you have your card going the other way, that will come in handy if you have a nice long fence that you want to make. So I'm going to run that through, and then all of the die cutting will be done. Okay, so we have that in these little guys like so, and then when I pull them off, they'll be sticky, but we'll wait to get to that point here in a second. Let me just get that out of the way so that we can start building on here. And before I start building my fence, I want to add a little bit more color to this windmill. Hi there, Deb. Let me get the camera closer because I haven't done just old-fashioned watercoloring for a while. And with that, I'm going to use my crumb cake ink pad. And before I open it, I'm just going to give it a press there and open it up, and then you'll see that ink transfer from there into the cover. And then I will grab my water painters, and this is the smallest tip of the 3-pack of those, the smallest or narrowest tip. And I'm just going to grab a little bit of, whoops, trying to get the camera close, but then everything's out of the range. Here we go. I'm just going to add a little bit of water to that by giving it a squeeze, and just kind of watering that down. I'm going to start on the edges of my windmill here, and I see it's kind of light, so then I went to the middle, and then I'm going to come back, whoops, and pick up some that's not as set, not as watered down, for a little bit darker look, and kind of just go around the edges like so. So it kind of looks like natural shading would be on something. So just kind of adding a little bit of color, and then I'm going to do that same thing on the bottom. I always feel like, okay, as it gets light, it's going to get lighter, then we can just go towards the middle with that, but it's always going to start kind of darker, so that's why I start on the edges. So how fun is that, to give that kind of a realistic look, and a really quick way to color that in with watercolor. And I'm just going to kind of go over these blades, and I'm not going to really pay too much attention to how light or dark they are, because there's a lot of stamped ink on there already that you're not going to really notice too much the shading or shadowing of that, but I just wanted to get some color on that. Okay, I actually got to see a lot of Dutch windmills when I was over there and when I go back to visit, so that's just a really fun way. I'm leaving the door open from colors so that that stands out too. And that is colored in. And that's one of the things too, you'll maybe see the lighter and darker color variants on your card when you get it, but hopefully you can see that from what I've done too. And let me just bring the camera up so that you can see a better view of my desktop here as I finish making the card or putting it together. So next I'm going to take these little fence pieces that I've die cut and just kind of pull them off, because remember the stickers on the back side. Now they're going to be sticky here, which is great because look at how frail, thin, and fragile they would be to try and put glue on them. And sometimes there's a little bit of like a notch that sticks in there, so I'm just going to poke that through with my take your pick tool. Whoops, I poked it, but then it kind of came back. There we go. So now this I'm going to line up on the edge of the top of my flowered paper, and then I know where I'm going to put my my windmill, but I do want to pop that up with some dimensionals here. Whoops, here's my minis. Well, the minis I'm going to use on the windmill blades. They just fit on there perfect, and like I said, Stampin' Up! Always just makes things so that like that's a perfect fit for those. So I'm putting 4 on there, and then regular dimensionals I can just put those then kind of at the top here and at the bottom. So now we're going to have a really nice popped up windmill next. And as of seeing the difference that yesterday's card made was seeing things popped up, I definitely wanted to pop up this windmill just to make that ooh-ah difference. Okay, so this is going to kind of sit right along the horizon there. And that's going to be popped up like so to give it some lift on there. And then I'm just going to go next with the next long piece of fence here, and it looks like this needs just one little poke out there, and that's going to go here along the paper, and then one more tiny little one here. Whoops. So yeah, just lots of kind of little effects that really make this card extra special and fun. Okay, there we go. So now we've got the fence. Actually, I'm going to see if I can scoot that just a little bit so it's more to the edge so the card looks like it's filled out the way it should be there. And so with all of those fence pieces already being adhesive backed from the sticker on here, then they stay really well and secured on there. And then I just want to do a little bit more stamping. So I'm taking out my clouds. So there's 2 clouds in that stamp set, and I'm going to bring back my pool party, and that's kind of what I shadowed and shaded the edges with there. And let me get out this because it's a photopolymer stamp. I want to make sure I get good clouds on there, and having both of those on at the same time. And now we just kind of have a little subtle cloud at the top. And for my sentiment, I'm going to pull out Poppy Parade. And that's going to just kind of highlight the red that we are going with to highlight those tulips. And I cut this piece about 1 by 2.6. It was just like that next bigger hash mark after the 2.5. So would that be not 7/8? Just that hash mark after the 2.5. My brain isn't doing math today. Okay, so I'm just going to get this to fit on here about perfect. I didn't want to take away from the tulip paper, so I wanted to get this to be as tight of a fit kind of as possible. And before I put that on, I'm going to pull over my card base, because now this is all ready to put on the card base. And then I'll kind of just bring over my sample, that's Calypso Coral too, so that you can see like the sample versus what I'm making. Very, very similar, but you can just see like this ink here highlights the tulips next to it, and then This I'm going to pop up too, and I want it to really have a nice pop up. So I'm just going to take this edge here and here, and that way it really pops up nice and high against the busy tulips. So I'm going to put that there and this here, and make sure that that's not hanging over the edge. And this is going to go right across there like so, using up those little scraps, but then I can get it as close to the edge as possible. And so I'm going to put it right underneath the Poppy Parade tulips so that we get a nice Poppy Parade look. And I'm going to kind of take it away. And I didn't want to add another Poppy Parade like cardstock border or matting, like I said, because I just really wanted to showcase as many flowers as possible too. So thanks, Pam. You're so complimentary all the time, and kind of a different way to show you how to do some coloring too. And now for the inside, that's where I'm going to pull over that other sentiment, just thinking of you today. And that could make a great sentiment for even the front side of the card too. But that's going to complement the same font as the happy birthday. So this one says, no one deserves a happier birthday than you. Just thinking of you today is going to go on the inside. And then I have one thing that I'm going to add to the front, so I'm not quite done, to make it be an embellishment here. Whoops. Extra dimensionals that I don't want to get stuck somewhere where it shouldn't be. Okay, so let me put that on the inside there, like so. And then I'll flip back to the front and bring out the brushed brass butterflies. So this sheet has 80 butterflies. That is a lot of butterflies, guys. And I'm glad, because I think people love to use butterflies in the springtime. And with them being metallic, or brass, I should say, well, brass is a metal, they're very sturdy, which is really nice. So I can just take off one of these big ones here. I'll leave the smaller ones for a different day. I'm just going to put that in the corner of my sentiment here, so that it's kind of flying up and away, just to add a little bit to my sentiment for that spring look. So we've got that there. Hi, Cindy. Thanks for joining in. So this is Kim's virtual stamp party card number 2 there. And just thinking of you today to go with the birthday. And now you can kind of see them side by side. Calypso Coral here and Poppy Parade here. Like I said, very similar cards, but just kind of highlighting the ink and cardstock choices to go with the different tulips that each section of Designer Series paper brings. So that is today's card, guys. Like I said, I was super excited to get out all my Dutchy fun stuff today for you guys. So how you can get the 3 cards that I'm making for Kim's virtual stamp party is order placing a minimum $25 order using her host code. So the host code's here in the video, and then also I will post a still shot of one of the cards that I made today. I have to pick Poppy Parade or Calypso Coral, and I'll post the still shot, and that will also have Kim's host code too. So a minimum $25 order using that, or contact me and say, hey, I want to order through Kim's party, and I'll know her host code, or if you include it, then we know that we're talking about the right party, because I have Sarah's at the end of the week too, and so that will help me differentiate between the two. But then you'll get all 3 cards as a thank you from both Kim and I for ordering through her party that way. So tomorrow's going to be card number 3, and that's going to finish up Kim's virtual demos, but she's going to keep her party open for almost to the end of the month, or maybe the end of the month. And then also then Sarah's demos will start, and Sarah wants to keep her party open for the month of January too. And then after Sarah's demos, then I will do my 10 cards that I usually do for January stamp camp. So that'll be really fun to keep inspiring you with lots of fun things from the new catalog and celebration brochure. So if you have any questions on the new products, please let me know. It's just going to be a fun time showcasing all that stuff for you, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.